Can a piece of the car last year be the key to Ferrari's success in Monaco? Why has Vasseur made a decision that nobody expected for the Hamilton Ferrari? The Monaco Grand Prix is not any career in the calendar of Formula One. It is a scenario where history, technique, and show converge in an environment without margin of error. It is undoubtedly the largest urban challenge for pilots and teams. With its closed curves, narrow streets, and relentless barriers, each centimeter counts. Each technical decision has an amplified impact. Here you do not earn with peak speed or with a well-executed DRS. It is won with surgical precision, with a car that behaves as an extension of the pilot's body. And above all, you win on Saturday in the classification. Because advancing in the race in Monaco is almost a myth. In this context, Ferrari arrives with a particular pressure. Not only is the weight of its history, the expectations of the Tifosi, or their reputation as the most legendary motoring team. There is also the fact that this year, for the first time, Lewis Hamilton represents the rampant Cavallino. And he does it in one of the most technical circuits in the world, with just 3 weekends of adaptation to SF25. There is no time for excuses. And Frédéric Vasseur knows it better than anyone. Ferrari's decision to reuse a modified version of the rear wing of the SF24, the car last year, may seem conservative. At first glance, it may even seem like a sign of technical weakness, as if they admit that the SF25 is not up to it. But it's not that. It is a surgical movement. Vasseur made it clear, Monaco is unique and requires a different configuration to any other championship track. And he is right. In Monaco, aerodynamic efficiency in line does not matter so much, nor the behavior of the car at high speed. What matters is traction in slow curve, mechanical grip, the ability to put the car in the curve and go out without wasting time or stability. This SF24 spoiler is not a simple memory of a better time. It is a proven tool. With that spoiler, Charles Leclerc achieved pole and the victory in the GP of Monaco 2024, breaking his personal curse at home. An emotional and technical milestone that marked last season for Ferrari. Recovering that piece is not nostalgia, it is pragmatism. It is to recognize that, for certain challenges, the most technologically advanced is not always the most effective. It is a declaration of intentions. Ferrari is not married to the dogma of continuous evolution. You are willing to break your own rules if that means winning. But this movement also reflects a deep and sincere reading of the current moment. Because although the SF25 has demonstrated competitiveness in certain circuits, its weak point are precisely slow curves, such as Monaco. And most importantly, in classification, the point where Monaco is decided, the car has not lived up. That was clear in races such as Emilia-Romagna, where Ferrari had to overcome from very compromised positions. In a circuit like Imola you can advance. In Monaco no. That is why Vasseur has decided to bet strongly. He has read the board, has detected the weaknesses of the car, and has chosen the only letter that could make a real difference in this layout. A solution from the past that fits perfectly with the demands of the present. And in the center of that play is Hamilton. His experience, his ability to adapt, and his hunger to demonstrate that his step to Ferrari was not a mistake are the factors that complete this high-risk equation. The bet is made. Ferrari has revealed his letter, and now everyone looks towards Monaco with a question in the head. Will this unexpected strategy work? Or will it remain as another sample that Ferrari is still looking for answers in the wrong place? The answer, as always in this sport, will be written on the track. But what is clear is that this decision has transformed the 2025 Monaco Grand Prix on one of the most anticipated weekends of the whole season. Ferrari's decision to rescue the SF24 rear spoiler to use it in the SF25 during the Monaco Grand Prix cannot be understood in its true magnitude without analyzing the heart of the problem. The inconsistent performance of the 2025 car, especially in classification and slow curves. The SF25, despite representing Maranello's new technical cycle with renewed ambitions and a reinforced template, has shown deficiencies that are particularly visible in high technical demand scenarios such as Monaco. In the first races of the 2025 season, particularly on traces such as Emilia-Romagna and Shanghai, it became clear that the SF25 fails to maximize its potential on Saturdays. It is in the classification where the technical package breaks slightly. The car requires almost perfect conditions to activate its optimal performance. Specific tire window, adequate ambient temperature, absence of traffic, and finely adjusted braking balance. But when any of those variables is altered, the car loses fraction of vital seconds. And in Formula One, a few tenths in classification can mean leaving from the second row, or from the sixth. The most worrying technical analysis is its behavior in slow curves. which are precisely the core of Monaco's layout. The data reveal that the SF25 rear train presents a slight instability in the curve output phase, especially under intense acceleration. This generates loss of traction, forces the pilot to modulate the accelerator pedal more ideally, and compromises the transition between consecutive curves. In classification, where maximum aggressiveness is needed in each turn, this behavior limits the options to push to the limit. The contrast to the SF24 is remarkable. Last year's car was designed with a more traditional aerodynamic load and with a rear wing that, although it generated more resistance in line, offered superior stability in slow and medium curves. That piece, precisely, is the one that has been recovered. It is not only a physical substitution but a change of philosophy. Vasseur and his team have implicitly admitted that not all advances this year have been steps forward. Sometimes, technical evolution also brings renunciations that are not felt until Monaco's asphalt is stepped on. Another critical point is the rear suspension system of the SF25. Ferrari opted for a more compact redesign, looking for a better integration with the diffuser and greater flexibility in the adjustments. But this new architecture has proven more difficult to refine for crews with a lot of rebound and little mechanical adhesion. Monaco punishes precisely that. The car tends to lose progressive adhesion in potholes and urban layout changes, which requires extra aerodynamic load and a softer suspension to absorb irregularities. Returning to the SF24 spoiler is, then, a way to compensate for what the suspension cannot yet solve consistently. In summary, the SF25 is a car with potential, but with clearly identified weaknesses. Ferrari's decision to combine the new with the proven is a strategic response to a specific technical problem. It is also an admission that sometimes innovation needs to be paused for the car to work in its entirety. And if that means looking back to advance, Ferrari is willing to do it. What remains to see is whether this hybrid solution between the past and present will be enough to conquer Monaco, or if, in the attempt, the limits of the new car will be evidenced. And it is precisely in this process of transformation where the use of the rear spoiler of the SF24 in Monaco becomes even more relevant. Because it is not just a piece that improves traction or stability in slow curve. It is a tool to build trust. A tool to give Hamilton something familiar, something solid to work on. In other words, a technical bridge to accelerate its integration with the car. This integration has begun to bear fruit. In China, for example, Hamilton made a notable leap in terms of classification performance, leaving a very short distance from Verstappen. In the sprint, he starred in one of the most aggressive laps of the weekend, with a confidence in the limits that had not been seen since his heyday. But this is no accident. He comes hand in hand with internal changes, a more fluid communication with his engineers, adjustments in his braking style inspired by Leclerc, and a deeper understanding of how to read the behavior of the SF25 in real time. This marks a turning point for Ferrari, because it is not only important that Hamilton yields well, it is crucial to feel part of the project. A confident Lewis Hamilton with technical and emotional support is a pilot who can drag a whole team up. And that is what Ferrari is beginning to understand. It is not about adapting the car completely to him as Mercedes did, but about finding points of convergence where his talent can be amplified. In parallel, this transition phase represents a strategic opportunity for Maranello. The technical approach that Vasseur has taken with the reintroduction of the SF24 spoiler not only aims to solve a specific performance problem. It also raises a new way of operating. A less rigid Ferrari, more adaptive, more open to questioning its own development process. This philosophy can be the foundation of a more stable and competitive future. Because if something has demonstrated the last decade of Formula One is that the one that most innovates does not win, but the one that best interprets the circumstances of each weekend. Therefore, the impact of this decision goes beyond the Monaco Grand Prix. It may be the beginning of a new era in Ferrari, one where decisions are made based on efficacy and not pride. And in the center of that transformation is Hamilton, not as a miraculous salvador, but as a change catalyst, as the man who can align the ambition of the Scuderia with a mental and methodical execution mentality. If this approach gives results in Monaco, the message will be clear. Ferrari has begun to listen to his pilots, he has learned from his past mistakes and is willing to prioritize what really matters: the victory. And if he does not succeed this time, at least he will have shown that he is no longer a slave to his dogmas, but an evolving team. An evolution that, with Hamilton in command, can be deeper and deeper than anyone imagined. What we have seen in this pre-Grand Prix of Monaco 2025 is not just an isolated technical decision, nor a simple adjustment in the configuration of a car. It is the reflection of a team that is sailing between two worlds. that of continuous innovation demanded by the fierce competition of the modern Formula One, and that of tactical adaptation, that flexibility that only truly intelligent teams know how to apply at the precise moment. Ferrari has decided to look back to a solution from the past to try to solve a problem of the present. And he has done it on the most demanding stage of all, the narrow streets of the Principality, where history and glory are written with millimeter precision. The figure of Lewis Hamilton emerges as the other great axis of this story. His adaptation process to Ferrari, marked by the humility of learning, the ability to evolve and the experience of molding the team from within, reminds us why his arrival was much more than a media blow. It was a commitment to transformation. And now, in Monaco, we may be witnessing the first signs that this bet begins to pay fruits. All this opens the door to endless questions. Is this return to the past enough to make a significant difference? Will we see the Hamilton that challenges the limits of the car with a magical return on Saturday? Or Ferrari's bet will fall short of the relentless pressure of McLaren, Mercedes, or even Red Bull? These questions lead us directly to you. What do you think of this Ferrari play? Do you think you are an act of technical genius or a sign that the team still does not trust its evolution by 2025? Do you think Hamilton can take advantage of this decision to return to the forefront in a circuit where precision is everything? I invite you to leave your reflections in the comments. What would you do if you were Ferrari's technical director? Would you reuse an ancient piece knowing that it worked, or would you remain firm in the development of the present? And if this type of analysis, deep, technical, but at the same time accessible, is what you are looking for to better understand each story behind Formula One, do not forget to subscribe to the channel.